previously had my hair analyzed and I never uploaded the results. In this video, we're going to talk about why, and then I'm also going to share the results of my new hair analysis. Hello everyone, Kayla here, and this is What the Kink, a natural hair channel. So let's talk about this previous hair analysis. I previously had my hair analyzed by the site Hair Codes or Hair Code. It is a website that has a quiz that you can do for your hair, and then you can also purchase a kit in which they ask you to include some hair, you send it off, and then they give you a hair analysis. And the biggest thing that went wrong with my Hair Codes hair analysis is that I did not follow the directions for the hair collection. I went really rogue as far as what I did. In fact, I was actually a little embarrassed about what I did, to the point where I talked about it with my channel members, but I did not really want to make a video or publicly speak about it here because I was embarrassed. But I am a little bit over that now, so I'm willing to talk about what I did. So Hair Codes was expecting hair to come in the mail that had been freshly collected after shampooing, conditioning, styling, and then getting some shed hair from there. Right away, send it in the little package. The package was even treated with some wax so that it was nice and fresh when they would receive the hair sample. I was like, I have textured hair, girl, how am I going to get hair that has been through the entire styling process? Now looking back, I kind of have an idea of how I would have done it. But I was like, I know better, so I'm going to actually collect the hair during the wash day process. And so I collected hair that had simply only been shampooed. I knew that they did an analysis of like the buildup on your hair, so I was like, cool, it'll be clean hair. And then I didn't really think that the results would be affected very much by me just giving them hair that had not gone through the full wash day and style process. Now, then what I did was I actually collected this hair before I had even made a purchase with them. So I took this collection of hair and I put it on my dresser, and it sat there for a couple of days because I wanted to collect the hair to even see if I could do it, if it was possible, if it was feasible. And then once I knew that I could collect the hair, then I went online and purchased the kit from them. So imagine if you have your natural hair, you shampoo it only, and then you let it air dry just out in the air for a couple of days. Most of us know already what is going to happen with the hair and what kind of state the hair is going to be in. So when the kit finally arrived, I quickly put this hair into the kit and sent it off. And so I sent them hair that had been treated pretty poorly and was in pretty bad condition just because of the way that I collected it. And when I got the results back, I could read through the results and I could see where sending them the hair in the way that I did affected the results way more than I expected. Way more. I didn't even know if I could fully rely on the things that were said in the analysis based off of how I sent the hair. Also, another thing that I noticed about Hair Codes is that Hair Codes gave very overall general statement stuff about the hair, like this is your hair's porosity, this is your strand thickness, even though, you know, there are variations to those things typically, especially if you have long hair, there's going to be a variation in the porosity of your hair as the hair gets older and it gets longer. And so for me, having long hair, the general statement stuff I didn't really feel was very useful to me either. And I do feel like Hair Codes, though it is less expensive, it would be really great for someone who has shorter hair. I would say your fully extended length is shoulder length or shorter, then Hair Codes may be more useful for you, because if your hair gets longer, longer hair incurs more damage. Longer hair has more variation in the different elements of the hair from root to tip. Now, despite the results being kind of warped and not so great, I did decide to make some regimen changes based off of this previous hair analysis. So the first thing that was brought up was buildup. They said, yeah, there's a little bit of buildup on your hair, sis. And I was like, whoa, especially considering the way that I collected the hair, for there to be buildup on this hair is wild to me. I will note that I did shampoo that hair, my whole head, and that sample of hair with the Verb Glossy shampoo, which I did feel like left a little bit of something on my hair. So in order to mitigate the buildup that they said was on my hair, I decided to switch to using a all-purpose shampoo, which would be a shampoo that's not a clarifying shampoo, and a shampoo that is not like super moisturizing, the type that would deposit and leave things on your hair. So think of it as, some people call it your daily shampoo or a weekly shampoo. That's basically what I currently use. I use mainly a weekly all-purpose shampoo. And then I also started to use rinse out conditioner after I shampooed my hair. If you are new here, let me kind of bring you up to speed. For the last couple of years, what I used to do after I shampooed my hair is I would follow it up with a deep conditioner. I would use a deep conditioner like a rinse out. And the main reason I did this is because my thinking was I was taking the whole deep condition as needed very episodically, very per wash day-y. And so I thought to myself, if I discover in my process of doing my hair that I want to deep condition, or I need to deep condition my hair, I'll already have deep conditioner on it. So now I can go sit under the dryer and deep condition my hair without wasting product or using an additional product on wash day. This was the thinking. So in order to be able to use rinse out conditioner every single wash day, or for most of my wash days, I decided to take the deep conditioner and do a deep conditioner just once a month at the beginning of the month when I clarify my hair. And then that way I could confidently use rinse out conditioner knowing that I had already deep conditioned my hair at a set time. So now I only use deep conditioners for deep conditioning when I know for a fact I'm going to deep condition, right? So I felt like that would mitigate buildup. And then another thing they mentioned was a note about the elasticity of my hair. Of course, I couldn't be 100% sure of that because I did send them hair that was in crap condition because of how I treated it. So what I did was I decided to I was like, well, I moved this deep conditioner so I could use the rinse out conditioner. So I am getting deep conditioning with heat on a regular basis. So that should take care of the elasticity a little bit as well. And then there was some old damage on my hair. I didn't really know. They didn't really give me information of how much damage there would be or anything like that, because like I said, it wasn't specific. But I was like, I used to be a seasonal trimmer, and back when I was a seasonal trimmer, my hair grew like crazy and it was in great condition. And I, in the past couple of years, have not really gotten my hair trimmed a whole lot. I would do like, there was a once a year, and then I would do like twice a year. I started trying to do that. So yeah, I mainly was getting my hair just trimmed once a year, but when my hair was thriving, it was when I was trimming it seasonally. So what I did was I put these changes into effect. I also in this time got my hair first trimmed and then reshaped by Elaine. And I had these changes into effect for like 3 or 4 months before then getting this new hair analysis. And that is why we are gathered here today. So this new hair analysis is from Hairoscopes, which is an Etsy seller. This Etsy seller is Annalisa, and she used to work for My Main Bio. If you're not familiar with My Main Bio, it was a hair analysis company that mainly targeted the curly girls. So you would see curly hair influencers may make a video about them, and their website, product recommendations and stuff like that would have like curly girl recommended stuff, or mention different techniques that people who tend to more so be in the curly world tend to follow. So I went with this because number one, she used to work for this company that went out of business. And number two, I knew that it being for curly hair, I knew that the hair collection would probably be easier for me to do because they are already expecting someone who probably does not comb or brush their hair after it's styled, okay? And I was right. So when I got the collection directions for this, I was able to follow them perfectly to a T, and the hair collection was extremely easy. So what I did was, during the shampoo and condition steps of my wash day routine, I just kind of stopped regularly throughout when I didn't have too much hair on my hand or too much hair in my brush, and then I would just unravel the hair and stick it to the wall. I know it sounds funny to have a wall full of hair, but by the time I was done shampooing and conditioning my hair, that's exactly what I had, a wall full of hair. And then when I was ready to do it, I just picked the hair off, which was pretty easy to do at this point because it was separate hairs. Picked the hair off and like draped them over my finger, and then I just ran a little water over it, and that helped clump the hair into like a single curl clump or a single like thick clump of hair. I then individually shampooed that little piece of hair. The reason being is because the hair, some of the hair had been through the condition process and all that, so there was product on some of the pieces of hair. So just to be sure, I shampooed. And specifically in the directions of the hair collection, Annalisa says, I want hair that's clean, and I'm going to assume that you clarify, because I'm trying to see how well you're getting your hair clean. So I need the hair to be clean. So she did not want hair that had been conditioned or had any type of other products on it. She literally just wanted hair that was shampooed. So I did do that. I shampooed the sample, and then instead of sitting it out to dry for days like I did with the previous hair analysis that I got, the next step was to fold a paper towel and then to loosely wrap this hair around the paper towel, and then place the paper towel into a plastic bag that still had a little bit of air in it. So the hair, basically we're trapping the moisture that's still on the hair, because I didn't dry the hair at all. We're trapping the moisture that's on the hair in the plastic bag, basically. And then you just put it in a regular envelope and post it off to her. And that was it for the hair collection. Also, when you make the purchase of this particular hair analysis kit, you also get a link to a survey that you're supposed to fill out. So I filled that out. It didn't get too nitty-gritty about my hair routine on there, but it did ask general things like, do you follow the curly girl method, among some other things. I think it asked me about the overall density of my hair and stuff like that. I did say no to the curly girl method because I know for a fact that I use products that are probably not curly girl method approved. My shampoos are probably a little bit more cleansing than what you would expect to see for the curly girl method. And then I do use products that have formulated in them oils or silicones or stuff like that. I am a big formulated products girly, so you won't see me using raw oils and butters, and you won't see me using like a just straight up serum or whatever. But if it's like mixed and magically stirred up into my products, then I will use it. So I know that that's not curly girl method approved for sure. So I wish I could remember more about the questionnaire on there, but I just simply don't. But it wasn't anything that was too extreme, and her results that I got were mainly focused on the actual individual strands of hair that she had before her and that she was looking at through the microscope. A little bit of a disclaimer before I get into sharing the results of my hair analysis. If you feel that you follow a regimen similar to mine or just like mine, that does not necessarily mean that these results have any bearing on the condition of your hair. Also, it does not mean that any changes that I may be making to my regimen are changes that you need to make. Ultimately, the best thing that you can do is either go to a professional hairstylist or get your own hair analysis so that you can get things that are customized for you. So let's get into some overall points that Annalisa shared with me in this hair analysis. So overall, she said that my hair is in excellent health. It is medium width hair. In fact, that's really an average that was taken. I'm telling you, the widths of the strands that she measured, there was fine hair, there was medium hair, there was coarse hair, there was everything. It was a mixed bag. And I've noticed that as I've detangled my hair over the years, sometimes I'll detangle my hair and a ton of coarse hairs come out. They're very noticeably, visibly very thick. Sometimes I have a mixture of hairs that come out. So it must have been a mixture of hair that I collected on this day, because she was like, okay, let's take the average. It's medium width. But she does actually break down the specific different thickness of hair that she measured. It was very specific. Overall, one could say that my hair is low porosity. However, to be more specific, the porosity was higher at the ends and the porosity was lower at the roots and then towards the mid shafts. However, she did note that my hair is kinky, and so at the particular kinks, which are bends in the hair, that's what makes hair kinky. At the particular bends in my hair, the porosity increased a little bit and the thickness of the hair thinned out a little bit. So the kinks are areas of like vulnerability in my hair, and I think that's just a general element of kinks as it is. So there is that. Everything's kind of middle of the road and my hair is just in good condition. Now, I know some of you guys are wondering, do you still have buildup though? Because you made those regimen changes based off of the last analysis. Do you still have buildup? The answer is no. In fact, the words that were used were, your clarifying routine is adequate. And I think she said it was like minimal buildup. So there's really not any buildup on my hair. It was nice and clean. So I think that using a all-purpose shampoo is so far working for me. Okay, there was a couple of cool facts that were in there that I want to share with you guys. So there were a couple of hairs, and she had a picture of 4 of them that were prematurely pulled hairs. So a hair that comes from your root should have this bulb on the end and it should be round, but mine had like a little stick type situation before the bulb, indicating that that hair had not completed its growth cycle and it was prematurely evacuated from my scalp before it was ready to naturally shed off. So I don't know if maybe I accidentally pulled them hairs out or what, but that was very interesting to see that they were not ready to shed yet. Then she said throughout my samples, there are these little lines on my hair which indicate pigment loss, aka graying. I do have a single gray hair. It's kind of back up in here. Like when I wear my hair center parted, it's way in the back, like nobody would ever see it. And so basically my hair is changing colors, which is interesting though, because if you see me in person, my hair does range in colors. Like, so I'll have like a lighter brown streak here and stuff like that. So I wonder if maybe it's not graying, but maybe it's just the fact that I do have these like color variations in my hair. If I'm graying, maybe. I have one side of my family that does gray and one other side that does not gray. Like my mom is over 60 and she does not have gray hair. So she dyes her hair blonde, but when the roots grow back in, they're black as night. So I may gray. I'm not someone who's really worried about graying. I feel like there's other elements that make you look old, and I don't think gray hair is one of them. So yeah, graying was present in my sample of hair. And then there is towards the end of the hair, she said people who have hair the length of yours, usually at the end there's cuticle layer missing. Your cuticles are not missing. Okay, so that was a fun fact there. Overall, y'all, the cuticles were cuticling. They were laid, they were even. There is very minimal damage to the hair, like the body of the hair. We will get into the damage because there was some damage, obviously. But she was like, yeah, overall, the cuticles is cuticling like they should be. And in fact, most people with your length of hair are missing cuticle at this spot and you are not. So that was great. Now, let's get into the damage. So the damage on my hair is concentrated on the last 1/4 inch. So she said your damage on your hair could easily be handled with just a trim. Like you need a trim. And it's actually been quite a while since my last trim, about 4 months or so since I got my hair trimmed last time. So she was like, yeah, like a regular trim would probably do you. You would be fine and it would remove the damage that I saw on these hair strands. The damage in particular was just splits. So there were split ends on some of the ends of my hair. And then she said there are parts where it seems to be that maybe water is entering the split, which could be like hardening it on the inside. And that can be another form of damage as well. So I need a trim. I need a trim, which I already had one scheduled anyway. So that's really not a big deal. Then there was one single sun damaged hair in the sample that I sent her. She was like, your hair didn't really have sun damage, but I just thought the picture was cool. I thought the picture was cool. Here you go. And then the elasticity was brought up. So now I trust this result. I trust this. So my elasticity does need a little bit of work, particularly the wet elasticity. And I don't know why there's a difference there for my hair particularly, because I noticed that the dry elasticity of my hair is almost close to the normal range, but the wet elasticity is below the normal range. So I wonder, you know, because I feel like if you have low elasticity in one state, then it should be in the other. But apparently my hair is a lot stronger when it's dry, and it's a lot closer to what would be considered normal elasticity. But I need to work on the wet elasticity. So that is my hair analysis. I mean, I didn't go in full detail to bore all y'all. This video is probably already super long anyway. But yeah. Now, the next steps. Things that I'm going to do based off of this. First of all, I'm going to add an additional deep condition session. You guys heard me say earlier in the video, I do deep condition once a month. Her recommendation is that people should deep condition 2 to 4 times a month. I'm not doing 2. I obviously just deep condition once. So I'm going to add an additional deep condition, and then I'm going to stop the use of some of the treatments that I've been doing on my hair. So I have not really talked about this very much on my channel. because it's not really a big deal. But I probably am not helping the elasticity of my hair because for the last 2 years, seasonally, I've been doing the pattern treatment mask. I love it. I mainly use it just because the texture and I like the smell, and it's a comfort thing. I don't really need it. And these results basically slap me in my face to say you don't need it. Like, the cuticles are laying even and smooth, almost from root to tip, y'all. There is no need for a protein treatment. There is no need for a bond repair treatment. I also had been playing with bond repair treatments. I've been using them like once a month just to play with them to see what they're about and then maybe make some content or whatever. Well, clearly there's nothing that's being repaired or needs to be repaired as far as that. And I'm just putting this product on my hair. So neither of those products that I have been regularly using for a while now are probably helping my elasticity of my hair at all. They are probably, if anything, making the hair slightly a little stiff. So what I'm going to do is eventually discontinue the use of the treatments. I'm not going to lie to you up on this camera. I'm going to finish my product. I have probably a half a use of the pattern treatment mask, and I have a half a bottle of the Curlsmith Bond Repair Salve or Curl Bond Salve. And that product goes a long way. Like, I've been using that like a while. Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I'm sitting up here on this camera in front of people telling people I'm going to finish my product. 1000%, I'm going to finish my product. But when I finish these things, I will stop doing them to help with the elasticity of my hair. I know from the past, something that's helped with the elasticity of my hair is washing my hair more frequently. I'm gonna be real with you, I'm not gonna do that either. I'm not about to do that. So we'll add the deep conditioner, we'll stop using the treatments because clearly they're not needed. And we not gonna wash the hair more frequently because do you know how much product that is? Girl, absolutely not. Anyway, if you would like to get your hair analyzed by Annalisa as well, I will put the information in the description box. Definitely tell her who sent you. And then I'm going to link to the video where I talk about how to see if your regimen is working, because it is something that involves shed hair as well, but it is something that you can do at home to see how your hair is without a microscope. All right, so subscribe. I post videos every week, and I will talk to you in the next one.